So I'm really ready to close the loop. And I feel awful about it. Because it would mean that I'm leaving people behind. It would mean that I'm maybe not appreciating what I have now. And at the same time, it feels just natural and delicious to step forward. But
so let's talk about this. So what do you think about this law of attraction and how it manages vibrations and matches things up? And what do you think about you maybe bumping up against some mismatches here and there and wanting to be in alignment with who you are, and so you reach for a better feeling thought and a better feeling thought and a better feeling thought and a better feeling thought, and you manage to calibrate your frequency to that of your inner being. You become a vibrational match to your desire. What if in the life that you've been living, you've been launching these rockets of desire, and what if you have managed to become a vibrational match to what is in your vortex? So now the law of attraction is doing its thing with you and with everyone that you're talking about. Yes? So if through your focus, through your wanting to be a match to who you are, others are noticing and aligning, maybe everybody becomes a match and you just go off like this together. What if you're feeling good and they're feeling good and off you go? But what if you are managing to line up and the other isn't, and you're managing to line up and isn't it logical that law of attraction would cause this perfect experience? So the reason that you feel awful about it is because you keep thinking that it is your job to calibrate to everything that everybody else wants. And the reason that that feels awful is because that's not the way your inner being is seeing it. Do you acknowledge that everyone has the right to receive well-being? And do you think that you are the source of it? Or are you just one of them who deserves to be the receiver of well-being? And do you think that by focusing yourself in a way that you don't find your alignment, that it will make others find theirs? In other words, these are the statements that we really want you to focus on for a little while. The law of attraction is real. It's organizing. Everyone has a point of attraction. The law of attraction is responding to everyone's point of attraction. The law of attraction is responding to everyone's point of attraction. The law of attraction is the manager of all of this. In other words, you can bend yourself into all kinds of contortions and pretzels and all kinds of things, trying to calibrate to make things work. But when you finally step into the shade and allow yourself alignment with who you are, and then the law of attraction calls you. We touched on this just a little bit earlier as we were talking about this path of least resistance, or this path of most allowance. And so what is it that is so hard about letting yourself feel better?
I think I feel guilty.
Well, that's a vague word.
Yes, I feel like
you feel guilty because
I'm letting people down.
Well, are you the new law of attraction? Are you the compensator of everybody's bag of marbles? Is it your job to move through the world, and no matter what they've got going on with their bag of marbles, you just adjust yours to theirs? And so there you are, because that's what people do. They calibrate to the bags of marbles of others, and in doing so, do not close the gap between themselves and their own. And so then you stand in discomfort, because Jerry would say to Esther, this is a really scant example. Sign outside their house. They had a walnut floor in a new house, very soft wood, not a good finish on it. So they put a tile out by the front door that says, please remove your shoes. And someone came over, and Esther didn't ask this person to remove his shoes, and he had gravel between the treads of his shoes and wasn't there long, but did a lot of damage to the floor. And Jerry said, why didn't you ask him to remove his shoes? And Esther said, well, I didn't want to hurt his feelings. Jerry said, okay. So how do your feelings feel right now? And we know that's not a perfect example, but if you're calibrating, when you have done your best to calibrate to who you are, and you find yourself called somewhere different than where you are, you got to know that it's a path of least resistance, better said, a path of most allowance of who you are. And sometimes when you're really clear about that, others find a way to offer a different vibration, and there can be a continuation or a rendezvous, but you just can't run around trying to calibrate to everybody and live happily ever after.
And maybe it's because I kind of like doing things the hard way. You know, the example about the shade, I thought it's funny because I would usually stay in the sun longer than other people because I really like that intense feeling.
Well, it's all right. We're not saying that the sun is not where you want to be. Sometimes it's cold and you want to step out of the shade into the sun. It's the same example. In other words, sometimes stepping into the sun is the relief. Sometimes we're just saying, if from where you stand, you know what is the relief. And the thing that is so interesting, because here you are the attractor of your own experience, and you're on a planet with all of these other people that are doing exactly the same thing. And so many people believe that what your job is to modify yourself to match their needs. But when you do, you often lose yourself. And so a relationship or relationships don't go long before you start feeling the deprivation of your own resources as you tried to be supplied by someone who isn't the source of your resources, you see. And so when you step into this knowing that everyone is being blessed, so to speak, with this abundance of well-being, and some just aren't ready to let it in, and sometimes by your being an example of someone who lets it in, others can find the way to that too. But it's not about being right or wrong, it's about the match. And you are a match to an inner being who is a match to clarity and allowing and kindness and love and expansion. And if you are trying to hang around in an environment that isn't that, then you have to modify your marbles away from who you are to something that you are not, and you cannot maintain that and a joyful life at the same time. And it doesn't mean that somebody else is wrong. You're not condemning someone. You're not saying you're wrong and I'm right and therefore I go somewhere else. What you want to say is our marbles aren't matching. That's all it is. It isn't an indictment. It isn't a you're wrong and I'm right. It's our marbles aren't matching. And you could even say, and I tried to make them match for a long, long time, and then it was time to step into the shade.
So how do I, okay.
All All right, this is a really good question. Spit it out.
What words would you offer in a situation like this?
So what you say is, so close the loop. Just close the loop and realize there's a new loop opening. And it's not what you say will help you with that, but it's that there's a new loop, a new intention, a new segment is opening. And so it's the now what? It's what am I? We're standing in your shoes. What am I now? What am I pointing at? Not what am I leaving, and not why am I leaving what I'm leaving, but what am I pointing at? And in the moment that you begin pointing, you'll line up with your inner being who's been pointing that away for a long, long time. And then the words come. That's some of the first manifestations. In other words, here's the thing. And take it easy as you hear this, but this is really this is the answer to your question. So just take it easy as you hear it. Nobody can help right now what is active in their bag of marbles. A lot of people don't even know it's active until the law of attraction demonstrates what's active. People can gradually do something about it, but what they're asking for vibrationally is what they're getting. It's what they're getting. And so you just can't get in the way of the way the law of attraction is responding to the vibrations of others. You see? The path of least resistance is to be in vibrational alignment with who you are. And sometimes you can't be in vibrational alignment with who you are while you're trying to calibrate to who someone else is. And so let's chew on this just a little bit. It's like when you say, so now what? So now what? So something happens. Maybe it's been happening. Something happens. And you notice it. And you notice how it feels as you notice it. You're aware. You notice it. And your guidance system gives you a response to it. So ask yourself, we'll play with you right here. Ask yourself the question, my opinion is, and then ask yourself what my intention is. Now, you can say that out loud if you want. So in the situation that you're talking about, what is your opinion? What are you observing, and what's your opinion?
Yeah, well, I'm observing a beautiful life that isn't growing. That's what I'm observing.
So what's your opinion about that?
It's too small.
And what else is your opinion about that?
I don't like it.
And what else is your opinion about that? I'm being held back. I'm being held back. I keep noticing this, and I keep being held back. So now, instead of activating, we ask you to, but instead of doing that now, instead of activating your opinion, your belief, your marbles about it, because you got to understand the way you feel is not about what's going on, it's about your marbles and your inner being's marbles about you. So your opinion is that it's too small and that it's holding you back. And what's your intention? Not your opinion, what's your intention? What has this experience helped you? What has the contrast of that experience helped you to focus into being? What is your intention now?
Creative people, open-minded, opportunities, ideas. Creativity is the main word for me.
Now feel how that feels.
Yeah.
So there's no guilt in that. There's just exhilaration and a feeling of freedom and a movement in the direction of what you want. Yeah. In other words, it isn't complicated, is it? And the thing that's really important to know is that Everyone has the same resources. You cannot deprive anyone of a happy life by going and getting yours.